ladies in the middle. Checks back against Carter and scores. That is atypical for the Amina Margot.
Quickly gets it back again. Oh, what a goal! Well, that sums up her season. The Gunners are WSL champions.
Back to another Vic Akers Wonderland podcast episode. I'm back in the driving seat. The first time since November 2024, believe it or not. But I am back, and we're just comfortably just chilling. 5-0 win at the weekend at Meadow Park. Happy Gooners all round. What a way to start the new year! And as always, I am joined by Matt and Adam. Bit of a sad one to start off the pod. Jen Beattie has hung up her boots, and it's sad to see, but we knew it was coming. Unfortunately, it wasn't in an Arsenal shirt. She did go off to the US for a bit. So just to get our brains ticking over, Matt, favorite Jen Beattie moment in an Arsenal shirt?
You know, it was difficult to even think about this because there's the moment which I think Lottie's your favourite overall. I think it's everyone's favourite.
I don't stop going on about it, to be fair.
No. Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with when she was diagnosed with cancer and that she scored in that. I can't remember the game. Adam will probably remember it a bit more.
Brighton.
Thank you.
Brighton away.
Ironically.
And yeah, it was just a good moment all around for her to score, but it's just typical Jen Beattie to score headers. And I know for one of the songs that they had was that she's got a massive forehead, but she really did use it well. You go back on some of her goals, it's her using her head to get on the back onto things. One of the things I think the moment we'll talk about, I'm sure Lottie, your favourite moment, it's a hell of a cross from Lotte Wubbenmoy.
My moment, because I'm not.
Yes,
I
it was.
As always, I'm going to go left field because I'm just going to go for the one that no one else is thinking of. Because there are a few moments I could go for. There's that she's got.
I think I know what it is. I saw.
Go on
the socials earlier. Is it the game where she single-handedly beat up Chelsea?
It is. So there's a few. I put a few goals up on social media. I mean, the one that you mentioned, Matt, obviously, she should say she was the first player to score in the WSL at Meadow Park, a screamer against Bristol Academy. Yeah. But no, it's a hat trick. Well, there's two hat tricks that she scored. One against Chelsea to complete a 2-0 to 3-2 win. No one's ever seen, which is annoying. And there's another one that against Barcelona in the Champions League. A hat trick so iconic that Alessia Russo even remembers it and actually says, I think it's her first defeat in the Champions League was, or something like that, was to a Jen Beattie hat trick. This, of course, is when she was a striker sporting the number 14 shirt. So
that's glorious.
It is glorious. So I'd love to see it. It's just back in like 2009. So it's pre WSL. I'd love to have seen that hat trick, especially as it was at Chelsea's ground. I'm welcome to be corrected, but I think it may have been at the Met Police ground. Met Police have their own non-league team, and that's where it's played. So yeah, hopefully one day it will surface. But that'll be my iconic BT moment.
Yeah,
she has had some great interviews actually. Do you remember the interview that she did with Kim Little? They were trying to talk about Scotland in the international, and Kim couldn't remember for the life of her when Scotland's last made a World Cup. So she was saying about the 80s, and Jen just sort of stares at her.
Oh, there's 2019, and that's it.
Yeah, she was. I can't remember what the question was, but Jen just sort of stares at her as if to say, "Kim, no, you were part of the squad." It's a fantastic moment. Sorry, Lottie.
Yeah, no. Just back to my favourite moment. Everyone knows what my favourite moment is. I bang on about it enough, and I still will bang on about it because it's one of the most iconic moments I've been present for a game. As Matt mentioned earlier, Lottie Wubbenmoy's wicked cross straight off Jen Beattie's header, straight past the keeper. She turns around, tumbles down, and puts Alex Pop on her backside. Absolutely glorious. In the words of Jamie Spanger, the streets will never forget that. Ever.
Yeah. So there's a funny story about that clip, because I when the news broke, I dropped that clip in our group chat, and within 5 seconds she'd taken it and put it straight up onto social media. I was like, what? And that's why there's my credit at the bottom. She was like, okay, fair enough. No, I love that goal. I mean, I also we should shout out that her last few moments. Her goal against Paris FC was so nearly the big superhero moment, and of course, scoring against Spurs in the penalty shootout. Can't forget that. What a way to sign off that was.
Oh no, exactly. It's just exactly what we needed. So for that. But speaking of Spurs, we've sold 40,000 tickets for the North London derby on the 16th of February.
Yep.
Yep. I'm just making sure that's the date, because I know me.
Oh, sorry. I was listening to the numbers. I will double check that date, but it sounds about right.
No, it's the 16th.
Yeah, 16th.
16th. 12:30 kickoff.
Yep, it's a 12:30 kickoff, so it's early doors on a Sunday. Thank you, BBC. Kathrine Moller Kuhl has made a permanent transfer to Roma. Last pod, we were talking about this. Next day, it happened. So, are we still thinking she could come back on loan to Everton? Anybody?
I mean, anything's possible. I know we discussed about the politics behind, let's say, certain club ownerships, but as far as I know at the moment, it's with Roma. It sounds like we've actually sold her for profit, I think, or at least we got a fee for her, which is a bit, it's a bit uncommon with football, but I think we got a decent bit of return on her, and I think we just say wish her all the best. Just signing a good idea, just didn't work out. Some of these don't. Hopefully she can, find some form and shine there, and take a case for the national team as well with the Euros coming up. So yeah, thanks obviously, cool, and best of luck.
I would say no on this, because she actually played for Roma against Juventus in their 3-1 win Saturday night. So I don't think that would have been part of the plan. I brought it with Roma going for a league title as well.
We should say about future, not this season, but a future season potentially.
I think Roma needs to sort of build up their squad a little bit at the moment. So that's why I think now we'll see her at Roma. Maybe in 2 seasons' time, we might see her move back into the WSL. But you never know in football. I mean, I look at someone like Oshala. You wouldn't expect her to be in the WSL, and next minute she's at Barcelona, and then the next minute she's in America tearing it up, and there when she was doing so well. So yeah, never close the door. I don't think you can say never with these sorts of transfers, but yeah, Kathrine Moller Kuhl as well. Shout out the first and only goal was against Leeds United in the FA Cup as well, in that No More Red. I think both of you were at that game as well, weren't you?
Yeah, I can't remember if it was No More Red, but I don't know if it was No More Red, but it was that 9-0.
No, if it was No More Red, it would have been Watford, because Michelle Adjaman scored against us in that game.
And Leeds playing
seasons we played what? We played.
I didn't.
Watford
I've only seen them play
season.
live once in that. I did watch
Leeds.
a game of them in that white kit online.
Leeds wasn't last season. I know if I think it's the Leeds one. I think that's the one that I've got.
We got Watford and we did it. We haven't done it yet, obviously.
So, no, hold on. It would make sense if it was Leeds, because she would have been on loan to Everton by the time the FA Cup.
That was the one with the banger from Katie, wasn't it? There's a goal from Katie in that game.
You'll have to narrow it down.
But for that Leeds United game, there was a goal from Katie. I remember that.
Potentially. I know Stina got a brace and Michelle got one at the end, which was quite cool. And I think Paloga scored as well.
That was Watford.
Then Michelle scored for us against Leeds, and the next season she scored against us.
Yes,
I know.
I've got the list here.
That's where I'm getting confused.
Anyway, we're going well off topic on this one.
I've got the list if you want it here. Victoria Palova, Michelle Ackerman, Stina Blackstenius with brace, Jen Beattie, Lena Hurtig, Kim Little penalty, Kathrine Moller Kuhl, and then Caitlin Ford.
Yeah. Okay, you didn't score on that. Okay.
Nope.
Thank you for tidying that up. Right, Lone Watcher's back. Vivian Lear has officially gone off to Southampton on loan. As our Southampton Championship expert, Matt, take it away.
Southampton haven't been great this season. They're in no threat to be relegated. They're 8th in the league, 15 points, but they're not going to get promoted. They just need bodies in at the moment. and Vivian Leigh is going to get that experience. She wasn't in the squad for their 2-0 defeat against Sunderland at St Mary's, but they did get their highest achievement of attendance with 7,014.
Yes.
So if there's a chance for Vivian Leigh to basically just take the opportunity and run with it. There's been other players in the squad that have gone into the Championship and not done as well. Freya Godfrey comes to mind. She was at Charlton last season, didn't score a goal. So hopefully Vivian Leigh can get that experience and learn quite a lot, and hopefully she can sort of add to that goal tally, because I think that will give her a bit of a boost going into next season. Might see a bit more if she was to, say, score 5 goals and set 10 up, for example. I think that would be a huge milestone for her, and one way to go, right, okay, this is the real deal. We've got a real deal player here.
Another player that is also partying in the Championship, who will be coming up against Vivian Leigh, is Maddie Earle. Sheffield United, Adam, they're down 10th in the table. They could be relegated.
Yes, I was looking this there. I think it's them, Blackburn Rovers and Portsmouth are the 3 sort of loitering around the bottom of the tent, Portsmouth at the moment.
Only one can get relegated, though.
There can only be one. Only one goes up, only one goes down.
Because of
poor old Portsmouth with 2 points and a minus 26
What?
goal difference.
What happened with Reading is essentially they've said 2 will go up, 1 will go down.
I know, sorry, I meant 1 will go up from my Championship and 1 will go down from the Championship.
Because of the just normality resumes between the FA Women's National League.
Yes, I mean, Sheffield United, they're in the mire with that one, and hopefully our loan-in can help them stay up and go again next season. So it should be a good place for a loan. It's going to be competitive. You know, they are fighting for their lives down there, staying in the Championship. But I do have a sneaky suspicion Portsmouth are going to be the one that falls for the trapdoor. What I do like with our loans, should be said, is that, I mean, in the past we've just palmed our players off to Watford because it's convenient, because they're the club next door and they can share training cities. We're actually sending them to play to clubs with, where they're going to be competitive. You know, Southampton, okay, they could still get promoted, but there's competition there. Obviously, with Sheffield United's a relegation battle, but they're in a good place, so they're better motivation to survive. And obviously, Michelle Adjaman's gone over to Brighton, who are, well, we'll talk about in a bit. They're doing quite well this season. So I like it, rather than just palming off to Watford, who are bottom of the table and went straight down, and it was kind of a blur. And I think our loan signings that season, they were sort of no offence to Watford, but I think they were sort of better than their group. I think the clubs we're going to now, they're going to have a bigger fight on their hands, and fingers crossed to them, they get the experience that they can bring back to us. I should just say a bit of breaking news. It's literally just dropped. It's not Arsenal related, but there was a lot of noise about a defender called Naomi Girma. You may have heard in the news. Athletic have confirmed that Chelsea have agreed terms, and it looks like she's going to be going to Chelsea. So, for those listening in, Lottie is restraining herself.
Blaspheming and screaming inside my head, because she should be here in time for Sunday.
It looks like she could be the first player to earn a transfer fee of more than $1 million. Cue Dr. Evil pose. So yes, it looks like Naomi Girma is going to Chelsea Women. So, well, they've signed someone. We still haven't, but you know, there's still time. There's still a few more days.
Yeah, but again, Renee has kept her lips sealed as usual.
Yeah,
she's very good at that. Another player that could possibly go out on loan, and it was mentioned in her Renee Slegers' pre-match pressures, Katie Reid. I think it's really interesting that she hasn't actually mentioned that Katie is going on loan. I think it's also really interesting is that she came off the bench on Sunday ahead of Laura Vrienvoeter, who had an ACL like 2 seasons ago now.
It's going on to 20. It was the Wolfsburg game. That's the thing that we talked about it earlier.
I know.
It was right after the goal.
It doesn't feel like that long ago. That's the problem.
Oh,
so
3 years this year.
With Renee making no comment on the possible loan, and her actually getting minutes on Sunday, which is, I think she came on the 81st minute.
Yeah.
Ahead of Laura. What? And Laura was on the bench. Bear that in mind. Where do Arsenal go from here?
This is because you think this is the perfect game to give Lara Wainwright some minutes. I think me and Matt were even discussing this when we're sort of trying to work out our teams. I think it comes down to is Emily Fox is the best right back in the league. One could argue the world. I certainly would. Laura Wainwright, she was able to have a good sort of 50-50 sort of evens battle with Noel Maritz, but Fox is just too strong to be deposed. And so what do you do? How do you reduce Emily Fox's minutes? And for me, the best way to do it is academy players. And that's why I think Renee is using Katie Reid as the alternative. And I think that we will probably see, if I was a betting man, I would reckon that Wainwright would probably depart when in the next season. That's the way I can see that going, because Wainwright is just not going to get in. There's no point. Whereas with Katie Reid, she is the future. So it makes more sense to give her the minutes than a more senior player. It makes more sense to give youth players those smaller minutes than waste them on, a more senior player who they're not. Laura Wainwright is not a squad substitute player. She's a really good right back. She was brilliant until what happened in the Wolfsburg game. Unfortunately, the signing of Emily Fox has pretty much blew both right backs out the water, and obviously Noel Maritz has since gone to Aston Villa, and Wainwright, bless her, can't get a game. So it is sad, because we did I think we should know as our tiny tank for a while, and it's just sad that her
She
ACL
will always be our tiny tank. Thank you very much.
We should be said. I think that the phrase was actually coined originally from Leonie Meyer.
Yeah.
But it's just sad that when at the moment at which Wainwright was sort of settling in as the better right back, her ACL came at the worst possible opportunity, and with it, her entire Arsenal career potentially. So that seems to be where the wind is blowing. But we should say it's a great opportunity for Katie Reid, and I think she's done great. And she was playing in Vålerenga and did okay. Came off the bench, perfectly fine. You alluded to it in the press conference when it was asked about her potential future, either beyond this window, would not comment. Which, by not commenting, you sort of are saying a lot, if that makes sort of sense, because the fact that you're saying that there's nothing she can't comment on anything insinuates that there might be something happening there. But I'd like to see Katie Reid stay for the season. I wouldn't want to see her go. I think she's earned the right to play in this team. She's already had a few games. It's not like someone on the fringe. I think she is part of the setup. I mean, I felt that after the tour in the US. I thought she did very well, but we'll wait to see what happens. There's still a few days of the window left. We'll see where her future lies this season.
It's difficult to say, because she has been playing from the under-16s further up into the Lioness setup as a centre-back. And it almost feels like I don't really want to use the comparison of the men, but you're basically using a square peg in a round hole, basically. And you've got an extra defender there. Who can we use? We'll use Kate Reid. I don't think it makes sense to have her playing.
I think it's really important now to remember the game is changing, and we need players like, for example, Kate McCabe. She can play the whole left side of that pitch. You look at the men's team. You got Tomiyasu. When he's not injured, Tomiyasu, Calafiori, Jurian Timber, all three of them can play across that back line, if not a defensive midfielder. Leah Williamson's the same. She can play centre back, and you know what I'm talking about.
Versatility is such an asset. That's what it is. It's versatility.
Yes, but Katie already has that versatility as a centre back and as defensive midfielder.
Yeah, she does, but you'd be stupid not to utilise it. That was my point.
I just don't think that she would be effective if you were to say, right, in 3 years' time, Kate Reid will be the starting right back. I don't think that would happen. I think she'll be playing, but I don't think it will be at right back.
Because the versatility doesn't need to stick her into one position either. Because she's 18, she still can be moulded.
I'd rather she be used properly than incorrectly, because you look at some players. I'm going to use Alana Kennedy completely wrong here, but if you use a player wrong, you can cause yourself even more problems than solutions. So it's we've had sort of made in the past as well, you look at someone like Steph Catley, for left back, now she's playing centre back. She's only been playing centre back because there was a problem with the lack of centre backs at the time. So sometimes the problems and the solutions aren't great, but they work for a succession of time. It feels as well, if we're looking at centre backs, if you're looking to carry on buying centre backs, like for example Adam's mentioned about Germa, then you need to drop a centre back in the transfer window. So does that mean you get rid of Leia Cadena? Does that mean you have to say, I'm sorry, Amanda Linson, I know you just had a baby, but you have to now leave? It doesn't add up. So it's got to be one of those where everything sort of comes in rightly, but also at the same time it has to be developed properly. And I don't think at this moment, because it can change, say if there is an injury, touching wood here, and there is a right back spot to fill, I don't know if Katie Reid would be able to take it on the chin and run with it, whereas we're a Rita Woods.
I would counter that with two words, Ben White. You don't know what a person's best position is. That's the thing.
I do apologise. I did leave Ben White from my list. I have been watching that boy play since he was 16 years old at Peterborough. Yeah. I'm so sorry. I forgot Ben White.
That's fine, because and rumours are he's back on the training pitch and hopefully back in the team soon. But the thing is, I think with any player, it's you don't have a best position. You say you have a favourite position or a better position, but it's not about that. It's about where you fit in the team. And if you're a younger player like Katie Reid, it's not about waiting for your door to open. You take any door. You take any door to get into that team. Doesn't matter. You could be asked to play right back. You could be asked to play left wing. It doesn't matter. As a young player, you want to be on the pitch, and therefore you have to be open to say, I will play anywhere. You want me to be in goal? I'll be in goal. You want me to be centre forward? I'll be centre forward. It doesn't matter if it's from my right position. It gets me in the team, and if I'm in the team, then I can impress myself, and then I can find my role. Bukayo Saka, right, was a left winger. How did he get into the men's team? As a left back. Where's he playing now? Right wing. And you think, and so you could easily be with Katie Reid. We don't know because we haven't seen enough of her. Yes, she might like being centre back or defensive midfielder. Maybe she played that a lot. But like with Ben White, maybe she goes into right back and suddenly we find that she's got lots to give in the right back slot. You don't know that. But
the difference is a player of Katie Reid who is fairly tall compared to other right backs.
Look at the men's back line. Look how tall they are. They're all 6 foot.
No, this is different. This is different though. If you say it if I was to line up, say, Arsenal, Southampton in the FA Cup, for good example, it's not going to happen this season, obviously, because Southampton have been knocked out. If Vivian Leah was to go up against Katie Reid, I think Katie would do a good job on that right side, but I don't think she would do as well as a job as someone else would. It might be a case of, yes, putting that square in round holes for the moment, but can she develop into that position? That is my worry, because she's basically learning from square one. She's not starting at, say, square 50, where you partially know what you're doing.
I would always think as a defender, it's best to make sure you are. It's like when I'm at work in my engineering, where I work in engineering, when we get like apprentices or graduates coming in, we don't say, right, you're going to work in that department and we stick you in that department. They will move around all the different practices. They will move all the different departments, get a flavour of all of them, and then they can sort of make a choice. And I think for Katie Reid, it'd be good if she would play in the positions that maybe she is less comfortable in and gain strengths from them and experiences from them, and that will suit her. And then she could be a centre back, she could be a left back, she could be a right back, and so I'm all for it. I think use her and
Adam, I think the prime example would be Jen Beattie, striker converted to centre back.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, 100%.
Leah Williamson, midfielder converted to centre back.
Yeah, it's not about where you come in; it's about where you find yourself, and that is the key. And maybe Katie would find herself at centre back, and that'd be fine. But I don't think we should. I think we should always. You should never try to close doors of opportunity.
I'm not trying to. I'm just trying to make the case that there might be. These are the worries at the back.
Oops.
I'm not trying to there anymore. It's more about, I'm sure there's a developed plan for Kate Reid. I'm sure there might have been, right, we might train you in this position so that you've got somewhere to be in this team, but we know you're better off in this position, but that spot, as you've mentioned, Adam, this spot's not available at the moment. So it might be a case of doing that. But in that development plan, we don't know what's happening in training either. We don't know what happens. None of us have those sort of information. So you might be training really well, and she might be doing, say, 11v11s and playing as the right back, and that's how she's learning, because she's able to go up against Mariona Caldente and Kate Ford and Beth Mead, and she's learning to play against some of the best out-and-out wingers in the league, maybe even the world, for some people would argue.
We all,
Yeah,
That's
no,
easy,
I
I
just,
guess.
I get where you're coming from, but it's also a case, as I said, like no player is stuck into one position anymore. It's versatility, sink or swim, basically.
We've always known that Arsenal thrive on versatility. That's all. Since I've watched them, versatility has been the key. It's just a case of how you use it and making sure to do the best that you can. You take the Kate Ford and Beth Mead swapping wings. They don't do that as often anymore.
It looks like I'm also getting that my one thing I would want for 2025, and that's Katie Reid's started that. So fingers crossed it keeps going that way. Pelova and Amanda Ilestead are returning to play, and they haven't moved out of that phase yet, so we won't be seeing them anytime soon. Stina Blackstenius was not in the matchday squad due to being ill on match day, so she was out. And Lena Hurtig was meant to be reassessed today to see if she's ready to play for tomorrow night. So how do we feel about possibly not going to Crawley without our Swedish strikers, Adam?
Well, I think it was Stina was ill the weekend, but I think she's fine for Brighton. But we're not going to have Lena Hurtig. She's on the way back. So I think, yeah, we haven't got Hurtig, but again, for most of the season we haven't had Hurtig. So it's not. It sounds cruel to say it's no great loss, but it's not a loss that we are unfamiliar with. Is probably the better way to describe it. Stina Blackstenius, I think she'll start against. We are jumping ahead, but I think this is the Brighton game, especially with Chelsea the weekend. I think this could be perfectly timed for Arsenal to have our Swedish striker lead the line. So fingers crossed.
Yeah, we'll see. Right, so Arsenal 5, Brighton 0. Oh, sorry, I mean Crystal Palace.
Try that again. Take two.
No, that was a joke, but thank you for laughing. I got a bit of a funny story for you guys. So where I was sitting, I was next to the Palace fans, and they were driving me nuts with Palace again, ole ole. After the third goal in, I thought, right, that's enough. I've had enough. So me and the wonderful Lucy decided to ask them, are they Brighton in disguise, which really wound them up. And what do you guys think of me being called a plastic fan?
I don't know.
There's worse things to be called. Let's be honest.
Yeah, I've certainly had worse held in my
the amount
direction.
of time I spend following this club and everything else is actually quite hilarious. Considering they were singing them men's songs for the women, which was interesting to say the least.
But should we also just say not to patronise maybe potential or support, but isn't it great though that there is actually a travelling support for Palace? You know, we should.
Yeah, I
we
was
should
really
credit them.
pleased.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely, I do. But I just thought it was hilarious. I got called plastic fan, and it was just you sing to them, Palace boys, give us a song, and all that kind of stuff. But they just look at you, and go, what? They just didn't know how to give it back. And eventually it came out their shells and they started giving it back. It was like banter. I think at one point we were singing Kyra's song. They went, oi, language! And I was like, what?
Oh, on the topic of... Sorry, can we just... I love this because where I sat in the East Stand, I was in pure vocal range of the North Bank. Yeah. And I can just say one of the real treats at Meadow Park, and it's one that we have to go, is if you're going to come, you must stay for the second half when they swap ends, because the absolute batterings they give the goalkeeper at every single, and there were many goal kicks because the ball was a lot of time at their end. The amount of heckles they give that, and it gets louder at every game you go to. It gets louder and louder and louder. I swear, as the more and
You
more
got to
of the
give it
ground.
to Shayanas. She's a great
Absolutely.
keeper.
Yeah, absolutely. But it was just the absolute power, the ooh, and then the your and all that.
Yeah, that's when they all started shouting language.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I love
I had the privilege of sitting behind Crystal Palace's manager's parents. Like her, I can't remember her name, unfortunately. I know Adam will tell me in a minute.
Yeah, because right on the screen, it's Laura Kaminsky.
Yeah, I was sitting behind her elderly parents because of the older generation of fan. They were all sitting behind. They were all sat down with the Arsenal fans in the West Stand, and he was chatting away to us, and he said, "Oh yeah, that's my daughter." Da, 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 da. I went, "Oh really?" He went, "Yeah, I don't call her by name. I call her something else, which I'm not going to repeat on the pod, which is quite funny. Let's just he normally goes, "Oi, female dog." Let's put the polite. And we were just sitting there cracking up laughing, and it's nice to see he has that kind of relationship with his daughter. But he said to me in the game, I said, "You lot do give us some stick," and I went, "They started it," and he went, "Yeah, we did."
No, it's nice to see that, because there are times that you see family in the crowd, but they'll be like in the MVP sort of sorry, not MVP, VIP sort of areas, whereas you don't see that so often with some of the family. I think Sabrina's family one season at the end, they were with the fans in the North Bank, so it's nice to see things like that. I think that's kind of special, especially with Palace. You've got to give them credit because of how they're run.
Absolutely. They had their own flags and everything. Like, they were waving flags. North London Forever came on. They had their flags up. I just got a bit annoyed because my camera didn't turn on like quick enough so I could actually take photos of it. But credit's due where credit's due. Absolutely. I love an away sport that you can actually hear, especially coming to Meadow Park. It's tough.
It is tough being a London club as well, because you're basically fighting against other London clubs to get the supporters to come into you. And I think this is one of the reasons why I think Palace will stay up, is because not only have they got great ideas about staying at Selhurst Park and things like that, they've got the opportunity to grow a fan base a lot more than, say, a West Ham. West Ham just don't seem to market anything. And yeah, they signed a player today. I think it was a centre back or a left back. I can't remember who.
Defender, yeah.
But anyway, it's just, you don't really hear anything else out of the club unless it comes on your page from Soccer Donna or anything like that. Whereas with Palace, you'll hear more things from them than you will hear from West Ham, and that's a huge step that the teams from the Championship also have to take. You can't just keep.
Thing is, sorry, go on, Matt.
No,
sorry.
I was just gonna say, you just can't keep doing, say, what you did in the Championship, because you've now got to raise your level, and if you don't raise your level, you won't get that market, and that means you can't afford to, say, get a Katie Stingle into your squad for the season.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with that. Again, you like it's one thing I love about Championships teams, men's or women's, is their fans are just absolutely diehards and they're unbelievable. They'll sing whether they're losing, getting smashed 4-5-0, like the Palace fans did. They drove me mad that whole game, but it was nice to have that not have them not disappear, so to speak. I think one of the other highlights was let's pretend we scored a goal came out, and I was killing myself. I was in hysterics, and I almost missed the last goal because of it, because they were all standing there celebrating and we're going like, what the hell's going on?
It's that sort of gallows humour, that sarcastic humour. Yeah, the
little kids were so confused. It's like what are you talking about? Whereas adults, we all kind of get it, because there's a lot of, in this after, there's a lot of lower end age teenagers and the smaller kids, and it's just like, we don't understand what's going on. Whereas as adults, we do.
What I like with the fact that they come up from the Championship, and what is great because the championship profile is growing and a lot of the women's teams in the championship is growing, is their fan bases are being forged then in that lower tier, and so they can bring that up into the WSL and grow. And I think Bristol City is a classic example of one which has sort of grown in the championship and expanded in the WSL. And Crystal Palace, I think, will probably see the same as well. You've got that hardcore group that have been through that battle to get to the top. And I think that gives you a much stronger support when you actually come up to the WSL, because you are fighting for your lives for the entire season. For any point is sacred for Palace. And they are, I know they lost yesterday, the other day, and it was a bad one, but Leicester City lost to Spurs as well, so they are still within a punching chance of staying up.
Oh yeah, they'll fight to the end of the season. I mean, they beat Leicester this season already. Yeah, they beat Leicester.
It's the only win.
So I don't see why they can't beat the likes of West Ham.
Absolutely.
And the other teams just to stay up. And I really do hope they stay up, because everyone the Arsenal love going down to Selhurst Parks. We like to win trophies.
We do love a Selhurst Park trip.
Yeah, we do. But I got some wonderful stats for you guys anyway. So this is our 5th consecutive win in the WSL, as well as the clean sheet. It's our 9th win in a row in all competitions. We're unbeaten in the last 12 now.
Mm-hmm.
How many goals has Alessia Russo scored in the last 12 games?
9. Not 9.
No.
Oh, okay.
You're talking about a brace as well. I'm sure she scored a couple of braces, so I'm going to go with 12. I know she's got 6 in the WSL, and that's a record that's a joint record at the moment that she can beat.
That was my next question, so thank you for answering that already. For mind reading, that's fine.
Was it
11 goals in her last 5?
Oh, it's 11 goals.
7 in her last 5.
So it was 9 before. 9, 10, 11. Yeah.
Yeah. This is her best record ever. She's now trumped her Man United record,
which is great.
It's phenomenal, because I've been actually, between me and Lucy, we've actually been counting. We've been waiting for her to crack this, so we can go and annoy our very good friend Sam, who's a Man United fan. But how are we feeling about Russo this year? How do you think she's going to continue this form? She's kind of picked it up from straight after Christmas.
Well, we're in a very interesting situation, because the player who is leading the Golden Boot charge is currently on the sidelines injured. So
yeah, she may be back for Villa, from what Mr. Taylor has said.
Yes, but you think even if she comes back from injury, and I know Bunny Shaw's an incredible striker. Let's just say she is that she actually won the Golden Boot last season, even though she was injured for the last few days.
That everybody has to have in their fantasy team, because the points are going to come in. End of story.
If she's playing, if she's fit.
Yeah, but she will catch up either way. Come on, that's what she did last.
Russo, I consider, again, she is the embodiment of the Renaissance, or the Renaissance, whatever phrase people are using. In the last 2 days of Jonas, Russo couldn't score a goal. He couldn't score a goal in the WSL. I think she got 1 in the Champions League qualifiers, and that was it. Renee's come in, and I remember that night, that freezing cold night, we were at home against Vålerenga, and Russo scored, I think, in the 94th minute, and I said, that's the most important goal she's going to score this season. And then from there, she scored away at Manchester United and scored, and just keeps scoring. And this is the Russo we wanted to see. And I'm reminded of Vivian Miedema when she arrived. She was signed by a manager called Pedro Martinez Losa. Didn't redo anything. Pedro was left. Joe Montemurro came in, and suddenly Vivian Miedema exploded. And I think with Alessia Russo, she was a striker that Jonas Sadova wanted, but I don't think Jonas was the right manager for her. I think Renee has managed to get Russo doing what I think Jonas always wanted Russo to do, but he never could. He just couldn't program Russo to play the striker he wanted. But Renee can. Has managed to do it, and we are now seeing the striker we thought we were going to get last season. And I say, might have been harsh, but I said at the end of last season, I don't think Russo's had, I called it a bust because I don't think she's fulfilled anywhere near her potential. Now we are seeing the potential of Russo, and the goal she scored was great. It was instinctive tap in, which people may poo-poo and say it's an easy goal. Well, I will point you to Kai Havertz, who's missed quite a few of them on the Arsenal men's side in very similar positions. Whereas the women's, Lottie's pointing at me with threatening, and I'm afraid I've said something sacrilegious.
I will protect that boy after he's been dealt out recently on social media. I will protect that boy with a vengeance.
100%.
So.
But what I mean is, the proof is it's not as easy as it looks. As anybody can, but Russo was able to score that.
No, it's not. But you've got to remember, Russo misses once, her head don't drop.
Mm.
Kai Havertz, his head drops immediately because
And
he
I
knows
think-
what's coming.
Yeah.
I don't think Russo doesn't get that level of abuse because of the platforms. So it's.
I tell you what,
Yeah.
if you went to the if you were at the LSV away game for Manchester United, she got abused for the entire game. She was heckled by the fans constantly.
That's Man United. She thrives off that. She had a good time up there. So
I'm thrilled.
There's players that thrive off it. We see it with Kiara Keating.
Yeah. Okay.
Who else is it? Rachel Laws. They thrive off the Arsenal fans giving them grief. They had some of the best games I've ever seen.
Chloe Kelly's another one.
Yes, exactly. Even if she is fighting with corner flags.
But I say as obviously she's local hero, obviously, but I'm really chuffed to see that we've got a striker who is on form. And my worry was is that with the winter break is that it would break that form, and she'd come back and she wouldn't be the same Russo we knew. And she could have probably scored a hat trick. Really, she was a bit unlucky with one or two moments, but got her goal. And it's getting to the point now. I always felt, and I may have said this before in previous pods, whenever I watch Russo play, I was always like, I just want her to score. I need her to justify being on the pitch because it's such a big signing. And now I just like, she's going to score. I don't care. It doesn't matter because she is. It doesn't matter now. We sort of gone beyond the event horizon of narrative. Like Russo must score this game, or now it's like Russo will score this game. Don't worry about it. It doesn't matter, and winning helps as well on that front. So no, I'm really excited for Russo. I think I'm really excited for the rest of the season. But the thing is, we'd also say with this run of games, it's been a good run of games for Russo. The ones after the Chelsea away, the Manchester City away, those are the two biggest games of the WSL season. And can Russo perform at that level at those stadiums? That's what I'm really excited to see.
I'm going to flip the script just quickly because what she was doing at Man United was essentially she was always making those runs in the box. When I went to go to that game at Old Trafford in the WSL for United versus Everton, she was the threat, and I looked at her then and was like, wow, she is a great player, and I wasn't expecting. I didn't know what to think, whether or not she was going to make the England squad or not. And you go from there, and Serena has really sort of made her a lot more of a better player. Then you obviously come to Arsenal, and it was hit miss that first season. But now to look at it, I think Renee's worked on a psychological game a lot more, and that's helped her out quite a lot. So if she gets the record and gets 7 in the WSL, I think that's going to be a new Arsenal record. So that would be great to see, because that's one thing you want to see your striker doing, is setting new records.
No, absolutely. But speaking of goals, we'll come back to Russo in a little bit. 679 days later, the wait is over. A wicked cross, not a wicked one, a dangerous corner from Kate McCabe as always. Straight into Leah Williamson and straight into the goal. Leah Williamson is back, 1-0 to the Arsenal. How are we feeling about that? I almost fell out my seat, but yeah.
I missed it.
You what?
I was having a bit of an Instagram meltdown on my phone, and I was trying to sort out the pictures I'd taken and earlier that day, just before kickoff. And then I just only heard a scuffle look because the ball had gone out of play for a corner. So I thought I'll just quickly deal with this, and it had gone wrong. And then I got distracted, and then suddenly there's a noise, and I looked up, and Leah Williamson was peeling away, and I was like, oh, I've missed it. I thankfully caught the replays, and it's a set piece. We can score set pieces again. Remember when we couldn't score from a set piece?
I've caught you a fair few times in my pictures, because where I was taking pictures of the halfway line, Adam's seat is behind the Arsenal bench.
I know.
You can just see his little head peeking, his big head peeking over the thing, and half the time he's looking down at his phone. So hey ho.
There was a funny picture on the motion in the actual areas, but a shot of the camera, and it looks like it's just my head is balancing on the dugout. It's like I've been like chopped off and like mounted as like a warning to other people.
You're doing a nearly headless Nick moment, are you?
Sort of like a. No, it was great to see Leah Winton score. Obviously, the first goal she scored for us, I want to say, since Reading at home in a 4-0 win, I think it was, which has
Well,
been
it was 679 days ago. So.
which
Over 2 years.
2 years, almost just under 2 years. Yeah, great to see her score, and I think she rather enjoyed it. Great delivery by Katie McCabe. I would say poor defending by Crystal Palace. That's a low ball towards the near post. I think the person on the front would defend it, but it goes all the way through. And Leah tucks it away. And yeah, as I said earlier, another set piece goal. We've actually, remember we couldn't score from set pieces. We've got a new set piece coach in. Now those set pieces are starting to convert into goals, which is oh so crucial, especially when you're playing against deep low blocks. I've always said when you play a deep low block, the crucial thing is you get that early goal. You don't get that defense time to get settled, to get confident, and then you get frustrated, and your decision making gets worse, and it all snowballs, and by the end it's 0-0, and it's 0-0 at home to Everton. We get the early goal, and all of a sudden the game plan pretty much flies out the window, and we saw what happened. But no, really pleased for Leah Williamson, and it's good to see she's back on the score sheet again.
No, definitely. For the rest of that,
Just quickly, the one worry was when you're watching at home, because the Meadow Park only has the one camera, you can't really tell what happened. So you just sort of, all you see is Russo's missed it, and someone's just hit it in the back of the net, and then all you see is it's Leah Williamson that's popped around. But at least it was Katie McCabe low across the ground and not straight on Leah Williamson's head, nearly giving her a concussion. Like it was against, I think it was Reading a couple of seasons ago.
Offenheim was just normally Champions League. She almost had her head taken off. But it was, which is a great header. But no, great volley finish, and 1-0 to the Arsenal.
Against Lara Vinvoitor's old team before she signed for us.
Lara Vinvoitor was in opposition at the time.
Yes, she was. For the first half, I think Palace had like two attempts from Cato. But Daphne Van Domsis saved them. Leah did have another opportunity where she found Mariana Caldente in the box, but it went straight over the bar. Katie Stengel lifted the ball over the top of our defence in the 34th minute, and Cato should have probably done better with that, Adam.
Yeah, I was panicking a bit here. I thought that was going to be 1-1, and I was hoping, or maybe there might have been an offside flag, maybe, but no. I've seen the replay back. It's a ghastly miss.
Well wide.
Yeah, I was. This again, I mentioned earlier about momentum with Russo, and I meant this with the team as well because we were on such a good winning run, and I can sort of mention it now, being after the event, so no fear of jinxing. But the game we all know, Birmingham City away, and I also think when I first went to Meadow Park was actually Birmingham City at home, and it was I think we went 2 goals up quite early on, and then the game just flatlined, and it was a real non-event. And I was really worried that this game was going that way. We got the early goal, and I was thinking, right, let's get some momentum, and that didn't happen. And then Crystal Palace just started to get just 1 or 2 opportunities. It was, like I said, you mentioned there was a tame shot straight to DVD. They'd missed a sitter, and I'd spoken to the fan next to me. I sit with all the games, and we said, score prediction. I said, I think probably 2-0. And she was like, no, it's going to be 5-0. I said, you sure? And I said, yeah. I was like, okay. I'll be impressed if that's the score. Obviously, we'll see how that goes out. Turns out. But at 1-0, it was the game I was sort of expecting. Just Arsenal, just not as fluent and exciting, and they were just sort of there. They were trying stuff. It wasn't coming off. I would say credit to Crystal Palace, defended very well after the early goal, and yeah, I wasn't surprised that was the way it was going. And to be honest, we could have easily gone in at 1-1, and I wouldn't have been surprised.
Matt, Freedom Arnhem volleyed just over the bar after a delivery from Emily Fox just before half time. And then Caldente was denied by Shea Yanas. I mean, Frida should be tapping that in, no?
She should be, but it's one of those, again, it comes to confidence. I think Frida's better off scoring from outside the box than inside the box. I'm sure there's actually a stat around that. She's probably scored more from outside the box than inside. But again, confidence is key. Once you score 1, that's it. You're up and running, and you're happy, and you get a bit more into your rhythm as you usually are. You get those 7 out of 8s, 7 out of 10s, 8 out of 10s sort of performances But it's just going to take a while to get back into it. Hopefully, we might see the Freedom Arnhem appear against Barcelona, not Barcelona, Bayern Munich a couple of seasons ago, and at the weekend. That would be quite nice.
No, fingers crossed for that. Caitlin Ford came on in the second half. I was grateful to see her. Instant impact off her, Adam.
I mean, it's nice. It's nice when these substitutes work out, because often with a substitute, it's player rotation, it's bringing fresh legs on. Maybe it's like tactical tweak. It's so nice when a sub comes on and just flips the whole game on its head. And I think the funniest one, I mean, I'm going on a tangent here, but I was reminded of when Nicholas Bentner came on in the derby and scored from the corner. Just that's the perfect example of a substitution. We all know the moments. And I think even Wenger joked about it afterwards in the game, and it was sort of this sort of impact. She came on, I think it was for Frida. They shuffled about Beth and Mariona and Ford in that attack, and Ford was to the left. And yeah, she just tore Palace to pieces. And it's just sometimes it's just a slight tweaking of player, of role, the right key to go into the right lock, and yeah, just absolutely tore Palace to shreds on the left hand side, cut inside, shoots the keeper. Keeper should probably hold it, but it's probably got a bit too much fizz in it. Russo, as you mentioned earlier, instinctive finish over the keeper 2-0. And we're on our way after that.
No, exactly, Matt. It wasn't one of Russo's usual goal. It was very goal poaching. It reminded me of Stina, don't you think?
Yes, and I think what makes it impressive is, again, she's getting onto these. She's obviously working hard in it in the background in training, to work on those sort of things, because these are the sort of traits that you can start to develop now, and it'll carry on hopefully further down the line in an England shirt, especially when they have a tough group in that for the Nations League. But yeah, it was good from Ford. It was interesting because originally when she came on, I think it took a couple of minutes before I think first couple of minutes she just didn't really do anything, and then all of a sudden she just burst into life, and she did play a key role. So yeah, hats off to Caitlin Ford once again.
No, definitely. Floodgates opened. Goal scorer turned to provider. Russo crossing to Beth Mead. Cushioned it home for a 3-0 for the red and white in front of the North Bank. Meadow scored.
I love this goal, and I have so much love for this goal, because the best way I can describe it is, because this was right. Okay, so if you watch the game, Leah Winston plays the ball to Mariko Dante, and Mariko Dante plays a around the corner pass, just first time, just pings it around and catches Emily Fox running on down the wing on the other, and from that it's one touch football. It's Mariana one touch onto Fox one touch onto Russo one touch onto Beth takes her first time goal. And it's one of those moments, because the play on that right was right in front of the stand, so I'm sitting there, and that pass to Fox happens right in front of my eyes. It's a beautiful pass, but I thought in that moment, goal. Just the way that the game had opened up, it just that one pass just destroyed the Palace defence. And I thought there's a goal coming, or there's a really big chance. You could just see the way that the players had lined up. Russo had made that run. Mead was free in the box. It's like those moments when you see, it's like the old Jedi thing. You can see events before they happen. You can see the car crash happening before the two cars meet. And it was like watching it. It was a superb goal, and that is on instinct. That is freedom of movement, freedom of play. Like, there's not players that are chained to a structure and having to think about who they have to pass to. It's the old don't think you are, you know you are. And the only other time I could think we played like that under Jonas was when we played away at Leicester City last season in the second half, when we scored 6 goals and the counter-attacking was just one touch popping off, playing not to players but to space for the players to run into. And we saw that with the third goal. Fox didn't pass it to Russo. She passed it into space for Russo. Russo played it in, not to Mead, into the box for me. And that's what we need. And that's what Jonas could never get consistently with this Arsenal team. But Renee has managed to. And it was a brilliant goal. And well scored by Mead, well finished. Always great when she's on the score sheet. And in that moment, it was just you just sort of relax and calm. So I can now enjoy the rest of the game because, to be fair, no offense to Palace, the results in the bag, and it's now just a case of do we want to score any more? And that's a really nice feeling to be in, which I'm not used to as an Arsenal fan, especially as I've been with the winter break. I'm having to follow the men's team.
Just enjoy it while it lasts, okay?
Absolutely.
Don't
I will.
complain.
I'm not complaining.
Finally, the player that I've been wanting to get minutes, Rosa Kafaji, got 20 minutes on the clock, plus stoppage time. I think it was 6 minutes.
Yeah.
6, yep. So she got 25 minutes on the pitch. Leah Volti came on for Kimmy. Rosa came on for our goal scorer, Beth Mead. Adam, I do want to pick your brains about this. Matt, I will come back to you in a second. From where I was sitting, I was obviously taking a lot of photos of Kafaji and things like that. But she says unmarked. She was open. Why was no one passing the ball to her?
I don't know.
Screaming for the ball.
I don't know, but
from where you were sitting, was there a reason for it? Like,
not like I could see
the ball to her, or
well, the only assumption I could think is that maybe they think that she's a traitor in disguise because Mariona should have made it 4, but Kafaji got back to make a block on the line to stop her from scoring. No, I jest. She did a full.
I deliberately left that out.
She did. In my group chat, I was talking about because I think the immediate thing for was she's done a Bentner. If you remember Nicholas Bentner in the Champions League against Liverpool, where he did the same thing, it was quite funny, and it was a bit of apology afterwards. And that 3-0, you can get away with it. I like Kafaji did a lot of great stuff on that right flank. I didn't really notice her not getting the ball. Maybe that's just I think Arsenal realised that Caitlin Ford was getting a lot of joy down the left, and maybe they were sort of focusing more that way because they knew they could potentially get more goals. Indeed, as we'll discuss later, that is where another goal comes from. But Rosa had plenty of good touches on the right when she did have the ball. There was a really good moment I like when she's by the corner flag and she just out-muscled the defender who tried to say, I'm being fouled. And they're just like, no, play on. And Rosa bursts into the box. The other thing I say is maybe that she's not, because she hasn't played as much, she's not fully integrated into the team. And so it's like putting on a new shoe or a new glove. It takes time to sort of get into the space. And I think with Rosa, it's just getting not just much Rosa getting acclimatized to the team, but for the team to become acclimatized to Rosa and know where to pass her and where to find her or where to find her runs. And then when they're more all in sync, maybe she'll get the ball a bit more. But I like the cameo. I mean, I wanted to score. I think I really wanted to just get that Meadow Park goal. You got one at West Ham United. Get another one. Just Crystal Palace. Throw
it's
Leo.
Coming at Spurs. Yeah. It's coming at Spurs, or it's coming at Chelsea. One of the two. I'm calling it now.
It was a good cameo, and the fact that she got on was how many minutes left? Did you say it was? It was. I've got it written down here. About 70 minutes. So about 15, just over 15 minutes. She got. I thought was a good cameo, and the fact she's getting more minutes is giving me hope that. Well, to say sounds stupid. She'll get more minutes, but that will lead to longer periods as a substitute. She'll be the first one off the bench, first one off the rank, and then maybe get some starts. Again, we've got a League Cup tie coming up against Brighton. I think that's a perfect game for her personally, especially considering some of the players we may want to keep fresh for the weekend. I think perfect game for Rosa.
Absolutely. Matt, Ford was found in the penalty area by who I think it was Blancard. Annabelle Blancard, I should say. Was it a penalty? From where you were sitting at home?
Yes.
Because I didn't see that. I just realised I took a picture of Caitlin Ford laying on the floor, so I didn't see what happened.
It's just one of those where contact's made and she goes on the floor, and it's just one of those where that's a penalty. There's no.
Oh dear! I think we briefly lost Matt there. No. He's back.
Hello.
Oh, sorry, you stopped.
Hello, he's back now. Don't worry, he's back.
Right.
Carry on.
Props up to Mariona Caldente. Last time she was in the WSL in a game, she and took a penalty. It didn't go to plan, so hopefully, so it was good to get back on that. And shows how much of a, I think the term is mentality monster. She really is.
It was a nice cold penalty. It was left the keeper rooted. Should say she had obviously come over that miss because she had the Bayern penalty as well. Again, two penalties at Meadow Park in a row, buried both of them. And yeah, I thought Mariona just. I mean, we obviously didn't know we had a fifth goal coming up. We didn't know that, but I thought it was good that Mariona got on the score sheet because I thought she had a brilliant game in that. It moved about a bit. Obviously, she used different ways, but I thought her play in the midfield, chasing back, her defensive runs to chase back are just brilliant to watch. The energy she has. I mean, I would say it's almost Beth Mead-esque. The way that she'll race back and win that ball back, and I thought she was fantastic against Palace and deservedly took the goal. I thought it was quite sad there because Kim Little had been substituted. For our penalty, only we haven't got Kim. That's another game about Kim not getting a goal. But no, Mario stepped up and put it away quite well.
Absolutely. Final goal. Russo cut in from the left, curled the ball onto the post. Mariona Cardente was there to finish the rebound to make it 5-0. 90 seconds after the last one, Matt.
It's one of those where when you're a defender, we should probably talk about briefly. There was an incident in Manchester where someone decides to play it back to the goalkeeper and it doesn't go to plan. So when you're losing a game and you one of the first things you do is you make sure that you do not let them score another one, because then that builds more momentum and then it builds more pressure on you. So you got to make sure that you don't do that. And unfortunately for Palace, I think their heads are gone after that penalty. So it just was almost like a free for all, and it's horrible when that happens when it's your team. Brilliant when it is your team, but you've got. But it's a bit similar. I'd probably say a bit similar to earlier on in the Emirates when we played Chelsea. Just Chelsea took their chances, with Arsenal didn't that day. Sometimes the opposition creates those opportunities for you, and that's what Palace did.
I love this goal because obviously the fan next to me was saying 5-0. And so thinking, oh, well, we're going to get that 5-0. We've got plenty of time, and the time's ticking down, and we've gone to 90+2. And Lear would hit the side netting with a volley, and I'm just thinking, oh no, I don't think it's going to happen. I don't think it's going to happen. But I was really pleased with that Arsenal didn't sit up at 4-0. We didn't go right 4-0. The game's won. We'll just pass the ball around the back for 20 minutes or 50 minutes, or however long it was left. 15 minutes left. We'll just stop and we'll just hold this game out. It's because goal difference is crucial, as we saw last season. Go for the fifth. Go for this. I mean, the crowd.
This weekend.
As we saw this weekend, the crowd are going. We want 5. We want 5. The North Bank is egging them on. It's fantastic. And yeah, credit to them. They got the goal. And yeah, Russo's a bit unlucky. Came off the post. Fair play to Mariona. Tucked in. I think the goalkeeper should better because I think she does get a mitts to it. But I think at that point, a bit like when I think it was Glasgow Rangers. I think it came to us in the qualifiers. It's just, as Matt alluded to, the leg's gone. They psychologically, physically, it was the end of the game. They just wanted to get on the train back down to Croydon. So just south of the river. So I don't blame them. But I thought it's another goal from Mariona. Good to keep that goal difference ticking over. And as we found out later in the day, having a few extra goals on the board was quite useful because there was quite a heavy scoreline in Manchester, which has sort of shuffled some teams around, which is quite exciting. But yeah, 2 goals for Mariona. Can't complain too much. That's I remember there was a lot of discourse. And again, we're just going back a bit when and Jonas alluded with some comments he made during the winter break, saying, "Oh, we can only have Viv or Mariona, and we chose Mariona, and we moved on Viv." And people go, "Oh no, how could you?" I don't think there is any question in the slightest that Arsenal at this moment in time have made the correct choice between the 2 players. Obviously, some of that is benefit with events have happened since, which also can control with regard to Viv. But the way that Mariona is playing the team, and I think is playing even better now than when she was playing under Jonas in the early weeks, bodes really well for the rest of the season.
No, absolutely. That has been our Crystal Palace review, I should say, not preview. We've played Palace. What am I thinking? Where can everyone find you on social media, guys?
You can find me at Adam_Salter4 on Twitter. Slightly less nowadays, but I use it to push a lot of my content. I'm do most of my ramblings on Blue Sky at Adam Salter 4. You can follow my Arsenal archive video work at the AW Archive on both Blue Sky and Twitter. And if you want to follow my writings, you can find it at The Halfway Line, where I'll be doing throughout the rest of the season plenty of match reports and long form writing.
You can find me at SpatsLR28, and you can also follow the pod at VAW Pod on Twitter.
Yep, you can find me on the VAW Pod account. I have posted all my photos, which I have been referencing throughout this episode.
And they're good photos. Do check them out.
The Instagram account. Thank you, Adam. And that is all we've got time for tonight. Thank you very much, guys. Come on, you Gunners.